says rising oil prices may benefit the United States, but stresses that his priority is stopping Iran from having nuclear weapons. On Truth Social this morning, Trump says the United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far. So when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. But of far greater interest and importance to me as president is stopping an evil empire, Iran, from having nuclear weapons and destroying the Middle East and indeed the world. Trump ends his message by saying, "I won't ever let that happen." The Trump administration is tapping into the strategic petroleum reserve to ease rising gas prices amid the war with Iran. NTD's Daniel Monahan reports on that, plus new threats from Tehran to raise the stakes.
The Department of Energy announced 172 million barrels of oil will be released beginning next week. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says it will take approximately 120 days to deliver based on planned discharge rates. Wright accused previous administrations of leaving America's oil reserves drained and damaged. He says the Trump administration will replace these strategic reserves with approximately 200 million barrels within the next year. Wright says the most critical thing right now is the U.S. military degrading Iran's ability to project power, speaking on Fox News.
Not just missiles for long range, but also their assets that impede travel through the Straits of Hormuz. We are every hour of every day degrading their military ability to threaten ships in the Straits of Hormuz.
The Energy Secretary saying he hopes ship traffic will return to the Strait of Hormuz in the next few weeks and the world will return to normalcy.
But not the normalcy of before, normalcy minus a heavily armed, wildly empowered, murderous regime. They will be near completely defanged and will not be able to threaten U.S. soldiers in the region.
President Trump discussing the release of strategic reserve oil.
We're going to be doing it very quickly, and then we'll fill it up. We'll fill up our reserves.
Trump bringing up his first-term administration, filling up the reserves.
You know, if you remember, I filled them up, and then I had a deal to go at the highest level, a level that's never been, and Schumer and the Democrats for $25, and it was turned down.
Trump says his administration will focus on securing the Strait of Hormuz.
The straits are in great shape. We've knocked out all of their boats. They have some missiles, but not very many. I think we're in very good shape.
Meanwhile, the 32 member nations of the International Energy Agency unanimously agreed to release 400 million barrels of oil and refined products from their respective reserves. But Iran is hoping to undermine those efforts. Its military command warning the world to prepare for $200 a barrel oil prices as it struck 3 commercial vessels near the Strait of Hormuz. There have been 17 reports of incidents affecting vessels operating in the Arabian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Gulf of Oman since the war began. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have warned that any ship passing through the narrow strait, which is just south of the country, will be targeted. Over to Asia, Japan will release 45 days' worth of strategic oil reserves as the war in Iran threatens supply chains.
Crude oil tankers remain effectively blocked from passing through the Strait of Hormuz. We expect crude oil imports to drop sharply from late this month.
Japan is dependent on the Middle East for around 95% of its oil supplies. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Some commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf are now identifying themselves as Chinese. At least 8 vessels have changed their transponder signals to messages such as China owner, apparently to reduce the risk of being targeted. Analysts say Iran and affiliated groups have generally avoided ships linked to China, given Beijing's strong ties with Tehran. Most of the vessels are not China flagged, with flags including Panama and the Marshall Islands, though they may have business ties with China. Similar tactics were seen during earlier Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, when vessels claimed links to China to avoid being targeted. This development underscores the ongoing risks for commercial shipping in the region as the conflict continues. 2 men have been charged with attempting an ISIS-linked bombing during protests outside the New